Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Talking Sports and Teams with Reeves. And today on my show, I have a special guest. Her name is Christina Winn, and she's an instructor at Full Sail University. She teaches vocal training for sportscasting too, online. And I just would like to welcome her to the show, everyone. Christina, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Sean?
I'm doing fine. I just wanted to say once again, thank you for taking the time out. Thanks for taking the time out for doing this quick interview with me today. And I want to ask you a few questions so you can just give a little insight on what do you teach at Full Sail and what it's all about and the purpose of just things of that nature. So, first off,
Okay,
the title
go
of
ahead. Sorry.
the title of the class is Vocal Training for Sportscasting 2. So my first question to you will be, do you teach any other classes currently at Full Sail besides the Vocal Training for Sportscasting 2?
No, vocal training 2 is my permanent class right now.
Okay. So my next question would be, why why do you think vocal training is so important in um storytelling for like people, somebody who was into sportscasting or someone down that's going down that road as far as like just not necessarily telling stories with sports, but just telling stories in general. Why is vocal training? Why would you say vocal training is so important?
I'm glad you corrected the way you asked the question because it is, in general, highly important to all kinds of storytelling. Because with proper training, you want your voice as the storyteller to be compelling and engaging and welcoming for the listener and easy for the listener. And then you want to be able to use your voice to inflect and go, depending on the type of story, to go into character if you need to, so that those stories come to life in the listener's minds. So your voice is your tool as a storyteller to compel the audience to even listen, much less to get engaged with everything you're trying to get them involved with.
Yes, I get exactly what you said. You want to kind of paint the picture with your words and your voice and get them a good start from there. I
Absolutely.
actually skipped a question that I wanted to get before I asked you that question. But so real quick, how long did you teach vocal training for sportscasting too? How long did you?
I've been teaching it since the school actually started, so I think we're 7+ years in right now.
Okay, all right. So are you? So when you say the school has started, are you referring to the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
So the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting is this program within Full Sail University, and they've been around for 7 years.
Correct.
Okay, got you. All right, awesome. And next, and what about the importance? What about the importance of your story, the storytelling, and the writing side of it? Like your
How,
class.
how important is the writing?
Yes.
Well, the writing is vital. And if you remember our program director, Gus Ramsey, he would always talk about writing to your style of speaking. So, writing is where it actually all begins. If you can write to your voice, to the way you would naturally say things, not the way you think you need to say things, but the way you actually really would say things, then that would enable you from the performance side and the vocal side to actually deliver what you've written in a way that's natural and more compelling to you. So it really does start with the writing, and it starts with you saying, especially in broadcast, directly what you want to say.
Yes, I understand what you're saying, and you're right. Because when I was in, and when I remember when I was in your class, I believe that now that I'm talking to you, is writing in your voice is so important when you actually get the idea of what the instructors and everyone is telling you to do. Because at first you're like, "What do you mean writing in my voice? Like this is my voice." It's like don't try to don't try to sound like someone else when you're writing it. You want to still be professional. You still want to sound professional and everything when you're writing down. Like it all start with writing it down, but write it as if trust yourself and trust your
Correct.
skills and trust your knowledge and everything that you learned up to this point, and just put the pen to the paper and write it exactly like that in a proper way with the right grammar and all the right and everything else, and you're on the right track for sure.
That is correct.
Okay, I got you. And what would you say to what would you say is the difference between I don't know how familiar you are with sports. I don't know how familiar you are with the vocal training for sportscasting one class, but I'm just
Very.
okay. So, what would you say? What's the difference between the vocal training for sportscasting one class and the vocal for training sportscasting
Are
two?
you there?
Yes, you hear me?
Um, yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Sorry. Ask that question again, please.
What would you say? What would be the difference? Cause I know you just said you're familiar with the vocal training for sportscasting one online class. What would what would you say is the difference between the vocal training for sportscasting two online and from the one class vocal for training sportscasting one online class?
Well, I say the vocal training one online class is primarily there to get everyone warmed up, if you will, and ready to speak as broadcasters and storytellers.
Okay.
And so a lot of the activities that that instructor teaches the students is more like the some of the fundamentals of proper public speaking, to include breathing, pacing, enunciation, some of just the techniques to make your vocals and your style of speaking stronger and just to give you a better presence when you are speaking,
Mhm.
no matter where you're speaking, whether it's online or in front of people or on TV, radio, podcast, whatever. So it's very foundational for what I teach, because then by the time students get to my class, hopefully they understand better pacing, enunciation, and things like that, so that I can take students to an entirely different level from being very good, competent public speakers, which hopefully that's what they are at the end of vocal training one, to when they get to my class, and which really is more performance focused, that by the time they're at the end of my class with their performances, they go from just being, I say just, but being good, compelling public speakers to being engaging, dynamic storytellers. And that has a very much a performance aspect. And that's what I teach. And that's what distinguishes the two different vocal classes.
Okay. So well, I think what I'm getting from that is so basically the first one almost is like it's more of like the physical side of it is getting the actual mechanics down and controlling your voice and stuff like that, and then with you is actually applying it more to their projects and whatever else you're doing.
I would agree with that. Yes.
Okay, gotcha. What are some of the biggest challenges you feel like you're like if you talk to a lot of your if someone asks your students, majority of students you have over the past 7 years, what would you say? What would you think they would say some of the biggest challenges that the challenge you say that they that you hear about the most from them?
In my class?
Yes.
Okay, so I would say in my class, it's basically getting comfortable being uncomfortable. My class is designed for them to be uncomfortable, so that whatever's thrown at them in the field in real life, they can just step up confidently and handle the pressure and tell whatever story they need to tell. So in the world of broadcast, things routinely don't go well. And it's our jobs to cover that and make it look fantastic and make it look easy. So in my class, for a lot of students, a part of the big challenge for them is being willing to do things that make them uncomfortable and still have to do it well. So, for example, a lot of my sportscasting students want to talk about the major sports like baseball, basketball, football, whatever, because they're passionate about it. So, in my class, instead, we will talk a lot about skee ball or curling or international juggling, because they'll have to find a way to use all the vocal techniques to tell a compelling story about something they have zero interest in.
I also think out
And if
of the box, not to cut you off, but
Yes. So if they can if they can make what to them is a boring story sound exciting, imagine what they can do with something they really are passionate about. So they tend to basically, for my students, the biggest challenge is being getting comfortable being uncomfortable, and then finding a way to connect with a story that they don't care about and sell it to the audience in a way that's just irresistible. And so that to them is usually one of the biggest challenges they face in the entire program.
yes, that was one of the challenges for me. But at the same time, I don't know how the other students feel, of course. But after I did complete those tasks, I was as you know, I was proud of that moment too, because like, wow, I just wrote a whole piece or did a great job on this story about something that I didn't even care about, I didn't have too much knowledge about up until last week, and
Exactly.
stressed about it for a couple of nights in a row. Then something just clicked, and I got it done. So that is an amazing feeling, for sure.
Good, good, good. Glad to hear it. I'm glad it worked for you.
Yeah. Now, do you I don't know. I guess it's kind of like the same question, but now do you think that's now in your opinion? Do you think that's the most challenging part of the class, though?
Uh, no, I think the vocal footwork that I have them do is more challenging, or equally challenging. For example, I teach something called the roller coaster technique. And for students to learn to use the roller coaster technique is usually at least physically challenging for them to do vocally. So, actually, how do I make that sound happen? That is very challenging. Then once they figure out how to make that sound happen regularly, the next step is how do you use it, like you said, and apply it in their storytelling. So, and making that story sound exciting even when it's not. So it's really, I'd say the vocal footwork in my class can be very challenging.
Okay, all right, yeah, that makes sense. I was just interested because you see how most of us have one look at it was challenging, and you as an instructor has a different look on what you think that what I'm saying. Which is,
Yes, exactly.
things are interesting. So my last question, I think this is my last question. I want to wrap this up. At the end of the day, you said you've been in teaching this class for 7 years. Um, what do you in the end goal of it? Like, what do you want to inspire? How do you hope to inspire your students?
Well, I hope to inspire them to tackle, from a broadcasting standpoint, storytelling standpoint, to tackle any challenge given them, because they'll be given great opportunities to talk about whatever sports they love. And then, usually, on the way to getting those opportunities, they'll take the jobs that a lot of other people don't want, which are the jobs that you talk about things you don't think others care about. But it's a job, and somebody is watching or listening, and somebody does care. So my goal is to inspire them to take whatever opportunity they make the most of it, and then once they've established their, foot in the door with whatever company, grow from there with continued excellence and great storytelling.
Yes, that's some great advice, and I totally agree. Back to what we were just saying. I go back to we were just talking about a few minutes ago of being able to tap into your inner creativeness and your storyteller, and just to make a story, take a story and turn it from nothing into something, no matter what the subject is, for the most part. And if you can do it,
Absolutely.
if you love sports and that's your passion, and or something along, whether it's gaming or music, then when you're writing at those things, then it'll come so easy and so smooth, and it'll be some of your best work.
That's correct. I agree.
And thank you. And I know myself as a graduate of Full Sail University and a graduate of the sportscasting program at the Den Patrick School of Sportscasting. I appreciate you and all the other instructors, and I want to say thank you once again for completing this interview with me, Miss Christina Winn, and I look forward to speaking to you maybe sometime now down the line in the future, because I tell you I'm thinking about heading back to the university soon. So um, thank you for your take.
Well, you're very welcome, Sean, and I appreciate the opportunity to shed whatever light I can. And I'm thrilled to hear you're coming back to the university for your master's degree. And I just appreciate you as a graduate remembering me and even inviting me to be a part of this. And I just hope that whatever insight I have shared helps you and future students with whatever you guys decide to do. And all of you continue to pursue excellence with everything you do.
Thank you guys for listening. It's been Talking Sports and Teams with Rings. Yeah.